Welcome back to home. I said that very happily. To home! Let's get home, shall we? To the soothing place where no troubles will ever get to us. The garbage bin was a disgusting mess of rotten food in slick black bags. I saw a thin greenish corner poking out from one of the bags. It was my driver's license. It looked damaged. Did I take it back? Yes. I cleaned the card off as best I could. It looked pretty beat up. I was amazed to have found my credit card, and now this. I tucked the card into my wallet next to my credit card. Did somebody steal this from me? I wondered why they would have stashed it there. Sounded like it was going to start raining again. Oh, darn. Get inside, quick. I had entered Norman's place. This was the back of the store that he ran. It was oddly quiet, except for the faint sound of a television. The entrance to the front of the store was locked from the inside. Looked like I couldn't just pop it open. It needed a key. There was a bit of blood on the keyhole. Also, I've already been playing over an hour. I'm kind of surprised actually, but I guess it's just because I've been reading everything out loud. So in my first playthrough I got through everything in an hour, but that's probably why I was reading a lot faster, so that's why. What the hell? One of Rachel's old autumn coats hung on the rack. That was Norman's bedroom, wasn't it? What was this doing there? A speck of something dark and wet stained one of the sleeves. There was a well-maintained gun cabinet here in Norman's room. I didn't know much about guns, but it looked like he'd kept a few hunting rifles. I knew Norman hunted occasionally, but I didn't know him to be such a collector. What was this? It looked like a pull chain hanging from the ceiling. I wondered where it led. Did I pull the chain? Yes. I gave the chain a single tug, and a simple folding ladder to the attic popped down. The TV still flickered some indecipherable channel. I couldn't make out what was on the screen, but that glow just gave me the chills. Then turn it off! Oh. Oh no. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Norman, one of my co-workers, and one of the few friends I had in this town, lay dead beside his armchair. His face and shirt were covered in blood. It looked like he'd been stabbed or something trying to get up. His eyes were still wide with shock. Norman, what was Rachel doing here? Why did you have her coat? Norman, maybe you deserved better. You probably did. Did I close his eyes? Yes. I closed his eyelids down, shuddering as I did so. I wasn't sure if I wanted to give him peace, or if I just couldn't stand to think anymore about what was going on. I hoped to hell Rachel had nothing to do with this mess, or that mess. I guess this was Norman's kitchen table. He kept it clean enough, but there were water rings from 2 cups still there in the wood. I'd never been to Norman's place before, at least I didn't remember ever doing so. The kitchen trash bin smelled fresh. I didn't dig through that mess, did I? Of course you did! I found a hairpin amongst the rotting food and trash and pocketed it. There were takeout containers and food scraps. Looked like Norman was eating for 2. Or maybe he had someone joining him. Okay. So let's check the attic and then see if we can pick the lock to the store, maybe? Oh, and I forgot to check the time again. Of course I did. I think I've been playing for like 3 minutes or whatever. Because yeah, the episodes have been getting longer and longer. I need to keep them consistent. There was a large cardboard box that hadn't been sealed. Did I open it? Yes. I opened up the cardboard box, the old cardboard box, and wasn't entirely surprised by what I saw. There were more of Rachel's things, more of my wife's clothes, photos, shoes, even that old radio I gave her. Why, Rachel? What were you doing here with Norman? I just couldn't believe it. My head ached with everything that was running through it. I used the hairpin to pick the lock. The hairpin snapped in half, so I threw it away. The general store was small, but it was clean. It had the usual things: postcards, snacks, magazines, and canned goods. I never went there much. Rachel usually stopped by after work if we needed anything. Oh yeah, she did. The register was mostly empty, and a fat stack of travel magazines sat beside it. Were you thinking of going somewhere with Rachel, Norman? The icebox seemed to be unplugged. It must have been off for quite a while. Most of its contents were half melted. What was the matter, Norman? Cheated on your hydro bills too? Ho ho! Clever. There were various postcards from the area, especially from the tourist traps. One of the postcards showed an old black and white photo of the water tower. It looked to be in much better shape then. Of all the postcards, that one seemed to be the most popular. There were only a few left. That night continued to take horrible turn after horrible turn. It had been weeks since I had last seen Norman, but to find him like that... Who could have done that to him? Seeing that dusty box of those old clothes was a shock. How long had they been there? And what was Rachel doing at Norman's place? I felt like I only had discovered more questions, no answers, but I was close to home. It was time to find out the truth. I'm not sure which door is mine. Just gonna keep going left. Okay, so there's 4 doors. I don't know, I probably went through them right to left in my previous run, so I'm gonna go through them left to right now. I had the wrong gate. This one was locked. Oh, so this was his? Yeah, and now I can't go back. So I think those were probably locked too, but I don't know. I might have missed something. If I did, then blade yourself. The neighborhood's local postbox. A letter was sticking out as if someone hadn't pushed it all the way in. I knew it wasn't right, but did I look at the letter? Yes. The envelope was addressed to Norman. There was no return address, but the handwriting looked familiar. I took a deep breath and tore open the package. Norman, I am sending this to you in a letter because I'm afraid to tell you this in person. What we did, well, it was wrong. My husband isn't an easy man to be with, but he is my husband and your friend. I need some time to sort this out, away from you both. I'm going away for a while. I'm going to tell him. Norman. Tell him, Norman. So don't you think you can hold that against me. Maybe we'll work it out. I'm not sure I even want to, but he deserves at least that much. Goodbye. I didn't know what to think. My mind was racing, my heart pounding. I had to get home. I just had to. More blood. Nice. Again, I'm gonna go left to right. Wow. First try. Okay. Yeah, that was bad. I don't know if I'm missing something again. I had entered our backyard. The rain gave me a terrible sense of foreboding, and it chilled me through my clothes. I was expectant, but also afraid. I never did fix this gate. It was stuck. I needed to press on. There was no turning back at that point. I held my breath as I approached our back door. I was terrified to step inside. The house was painfully quiet. The only sound was my own breathing, ragged and strained. I flicked the light switch by the door. The power was off. No way was I going to walk away from this now. I remembered having breakfast here on this very table. Was that yesterday or sometime before? The table was clean. It hadn't been used any time recently. The door to the basement. It was locked. Where had I put the damned key? There was a small pile of mail on the floor in front of the mail slot. How long had I been away? Why hadn't Rachel picked this up? Most of the contents were bills. There was a credit card bill there. Did I open it? Yes. I ripped the bill open and read it. To my surprise, it said something about canceling my credit card due to non-payment. What the hell? The front door was locked from inside. I couldn't go out, though. I needed to see if Rachel was here. The door was stuck shut. There was an old-fashioned keyhole underneath the handle. I had found the last missing piece of my wallet. The old photo of Rachel and I stared back at me, reminding me of better times. It didn't make me feel terribly comfortable. Did I keep it anyway? Yeah, sure. I replaced the photo in my wallet, feeling like I had got part of my life back. Still, the image made me uneasy. Why had I thrown it away? Our television. I had purchased it before I knew I was going to lose my job. I felt pretty guilty about it afterwards, but by then it was too late. Rachel was pretty angry about that, I realized. Wait, did I go right? Yeah, I did. That was the locked door, I think. Our hallway mirror had been smashed, its pieces scattered around the floor. I couldn't really make myself out anymore. I wasn't sure I wanted to. My laptop had been left on, and only had a tiny bit of power left. On the screen was a website about the old water tower. There was a key in the top drawer of my desk. Did I take it? Yes. I pocketed the key. The laptop was warm. It had been running for a while. The books there were half mine, half Rachel's. Hey, now that I looked more closely, it looked like the man in that house had some of the same books as I did. One book in particular seemed a bit odd. I remembered owning it, but not in that edition. My wife's, Rachel's suitcase was sitting on the bed. It was closed, but I had a feeling what was in it. Did I open it? Yes. Rachel's suitcase contained clothes, toiletries, and a train ticket. Is this what you were going to do with Norman? Rachel, why? Were you really going to run away with Norman? Was I really such a monster? Our sink, which needed to be replaced. One of the taps always stuck, but I hadn't gotten around to fixing it yet. That old house was charming for sure, but it wasn't always easy. We were lucky enough to get a house with one of those wonderful old claw-footed bathtubs. It seemed impractical at times, but it was part of what made that house home. Once again, I didn't check the time, but I think I'll keep going. Okay, so this is not the key to that, so it must be the key to the basement. I unlocked the basement door. There were old Christmas decorations in the box. I couldn't even remember our last Christmas. The garbage bags were stuffed with old paint cans and supplies. There was a dirty old key here. Did I take the key? Yes. I took the small key and tried to remember what it unlocked. Looked like there was plaster and an old trowel in here too. There were old clothes, tools, and other things we obviously hadn't thrown out yet. We had way too much junk. I had put up this divider wall last summer so we could create a separate room in the basement. I hadn't finished it yet, so the door was stuck and the drywall was poorly installed. I might have been able to break through if I found something heavy enough. Smash the television through it. Guess we'll check the other door here. The grimy key I had found in the basement unlocked the door. It looked like that room had been tossed around. The furniture was a mess. Did somebody break in here? There was an old crowbar on the floor. Did I need to take the crowbar? Yes. I lifted the heavy crowbar. I appreciated its weight. Did I break through the wall with a crowbar? Yes. With a heave, I swung the crowbar at the wall. I smashed a hole large enough to step through. As I stepped through the broken wall, my breath caught in my throat. This was it. Was Rachel down there? Was she okay? Don't look. A filthy-looking pile of rags had been dumped in the corner. The stench of them was awful and made my eyes water. I was terrified to even touch the pile to see what lay within, but I knew I had to. I had come this far. After all this searching, after all I had seen, when I looked within the rags, did I finally find my Rachel?